Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a classic debate in the wine world. It's a real head-to-head battle between two legendary regions and their totally different ways of making wine. And it all starts with just one grape. I'm talking about one of the world's most noble red grapes, Cabernet Sauvignon. You take it from its ancestral home in France and then you plant it in the sun-drenched valleys of the United States, and somehow you end up with wines that are just worlds apart. It's pretty incredible. So how does that even happen? How can the exact same grape taste so radically different? Well, that's what this explainer is all about. We're going to uncork that very answer by putting the classic, structured elegance of Bordeaux right up against the bold, fruit-forward power of California. Let's figure out what makes each one a true champion. Okay, let's dive right in. Now, before we bring our two contenders into the ring, we've got to meet the star of the show, the grape that's at the heart of this whole story. So, Cabernet Sauvignon. This grape is a global superstar for a really good reason. You see, it's got these thick, dark skins, and they're just packed with color and something called tannins. Now, tannins are what give wine its structure. That slightly drying feeling you get on your gums? That's them. But they also act like a natural preservative, which is why these wines can age for, decades. It's this amazing backbone combined with these complex flavors of dark fruit and savory notes that makes Cabernet Sauvignon the foundation for some of the absolute greatest red wines on the planet. All right. First up, in the old world corner, weighing in with centuries of tradition, we have the original champion, the undisputed birthplace of Cabernet Sauvignon itself, the hallowed grounds of Bordeaux, France. I mean, when you talk about Bordeaux's history, you're not talking in years or even decades. You're talking in centuries. We're going all the way back to the Roman era. For millennia, this region has been perfecting its craft. And all that deep-rooted tradition, it creates this intense focus on, not just making wine, but on expressing a very specific sense of place. So here's the key thing to get about Bordeaux. It's all about something called terroir. And really, that's just a fancy word for this unique mix of a cooler, maritime climate, thanks to the Atlantic Ocean, and these incredible gravelly soils. But here's the other big thing. Cabernet Sauvignon almost never flies solo here. Think of it like a band. Cab is the lead singer for sure, but it's almost always blended with its bandmates Merlot and Cabernet Franc to create something way more balanced, complex, and just harmonious. And what you get from all that is a wine that's actually more savory than it is fruity. The words that come to mind are elegance, structure, finesse. These wines have really firm tannins and these amazing earthy kind of mineral notes, think pencil lead or cedar wood, mixed in with that dark blackcurrant fruit. These are wines that are absolutely built for the long haul. They're designed to just get better and better in your cellar for decades. Okay, and now for the challenger, hailing from the New World, a region that burst onto the scene with an absolute knockout punch of pure fruit and power, let's hear it for California. Seriously, California's story is pure Hollywood drama. You've got pioneers, a near-total wipeout thanks to Prohibition, and then this absolutely meteoric rise from the ashes. And the climax of that story? It has to be the Judgment of Paris back in 1976. This was a blind tasting where a California Cabernet went up against the very best of Bordeaux and won. It was the shocker of the century, the shot heard around the wine world. And just like that, California wasn't just on the map, it was a superstar. So where Bordeaux's terroir is all about subtlety and coolness, California's is defined by one big dominant force: sunshine. Lots and lots of sunshine. That warm, dry Mediterranean climate means the grapes get super ripe, consistently ripe, in a way Bordeaux can only dream of. And here, Cabernet Sauvignon isn't just the lead singer, it's the solo act. It's often bottled all by itself as a 100% single varietal wine, just to showcase its pure, raw, unadulterated power. And what you get is a style that's pretty much the polar opposite of Bordeaux. We're talking bold, intense, opulent. These wines are often a bit higher in alcohol, the tannins feel softer and more approachable right away, and the flavor profile is just this explosion of ripe blackberry, jammy fruits, and then these delicious notes of vanilla and chocolate that come from aging in new oak barrels. Okay, so we've met our fighters. Now let's put them side by side. It's time for the tale of the tape, the head-to-head breakdown of exactly what makes these two titans so different. This chart really lays it all out, doesn't it? Just look at the aromas. For Bordeaux, you're smelling things like graphite, cedar, earth, very savory. For California, boom, ripe blackberry, vanilla, chocolate, pure fruit, and oak. And check out the tannins. Bordeaux's are firm, kind of fine and silky, built to last. California's are just as powerful, but they often feel a lot softer, more plush, and ready to go right out of the gate. So if you had to boil it all down to one single idea, this is it. It's a classic battle of elegance versus intensity. You've got the restrained, savory, structured wine from Bordeaux up against the powerful, fruit-forward, opulent wine from California. One is all about complexity that unfolds over time. The other is about that big, beautiful, immediate impact. So we've seen the contenders, we've analyzed their styles, but you know what? In this duel, there's really only one judge that matters, and that's you. So let's talk about how you can make your own call. And listen, you absolutely do not need to be a pro to do this. Not at all. Just use your senses. First, just look at the wine. You'll see the color difference right away. Bordeaux is more of a ruby, while the California Cab is deep, dark purple. Then give it a swirl and smell it. Really get your nose in there. Can you pick out that earthy cedar versus the ripe vanilla? And finally, taste it. Let it coat your whole mouth. How does it feel? Is it kind of lean and structured, or is it rich and full and powerful? Just trust what you're sensing. And this brings us to maybe the most important part of the puzzle: what you're eating. Because context is everything, right? An elegant Bordeaux is just going to sing with more refined, earthy dishes. Think filet mignon or a mushroom risotto. But that bold California Cab, oh man, that's what you want with a big, rich ribeye steak right off the grill or some smoky barbecue ribs. Getting the pairing right, it can make all the difference in the world. So, at the end of the day, there's no single winner here. There's no right or wrong answer. The choice between that old world tradition and new world innovation, between savory elegance and opulent power, it's a completely personal one. And that's what makes it so much fun. So the only question that really matters is, what's your verdict? Which champion are you going to choose?